Good morning and welcome to TipRanks News Bites. I'm Ari Gutman. Today is Thursday, July 28th. The weekend is just about upon us. But first, our News Bites. Market indexes soared just after the Federal Reserve announced their benchmark interest rate hike. Yet some banks are actually now warning investors to tread very cautiously. The United States Senate finalized and passed the CHIPS Plus bill to boost domestic semiconductor production. And in rather surprising news for the world of cryptocurrencies, Cathie Wood's ARK Invest officially offloaded their shares of Coinbase. Now finally, as for our breaking TipRanks insider news, a clinical stage pharmaceutical company is back in our spotlight as it received another massive investment from a stakeholder. Now be sure to stick with me through and through to the end of today's segment. You will not want to miss out. After the Federal Reserve pulled the trigger on raising the benchmark interest rate by another 75 basis points, along with very reassuring words from Jerome Powell, U.S. stocks soared across indexes, the NASDAQ leading the rally, posting its biggest single-day gain since April of 2020, jumping by 4.06%. Now the S&P not too far behind, climbing by 2.62%, and the Dow gained 1.37%. Now, Powell's remarks in the news conference following the rate hike calmed many investors as he shared that he didn't believe the U.S. economy is currently in a recession, though he did admit to a softening in the economy. Now, some larger banks like Morgan Stanley began warning investors shortly after to resist what they're seeing as another short-lived post-Fed decision rally. Morgan Stanley's U.S. equity strategist and chief investment officer, Mike Wilson, shared that the idea of the interest rate hike slowing sooner rather than later is far too premature and is very problematic. Now, Wilson resides in the camp of those who foresee further downside, with his belief that the S&P could slump to 3,000 in 2022. However, predictions remain, well, predictions. And it's most important to just continue to make each and every investment decision with all the information that you could possibly need, from macroeconomics to stock insights. And of course, that's exactly what TipRanks is here for. As the United States seeks to reduce its dependencies on production and manufacturing of semiconductors from abroad, a major U.S. victory was celebrated yesterday as the Senate passed a bipartisan bill known as the CHIPS Plus, or CHIPS and Science Act. The bill passed in a vote of 64 to 33, with the package including more than $52 billion for U.S. companies to produce computer chips. Now, also included in that bill are tax incentives to encourage chip manufacturing domestically. And before making its way to President Biden's desk for a final sign-off, the bill will first head to the House, where it's also expected to pass. Now, across the board, from those on Capitol Hill to national security advisors, they all share the same sentiment that the bill is vital to America's economy as well as national security. Now, building more chips it's become the critical component in our everyday lives, from consumer electronics to automobiles and of course household machines, so it's quite imperative. Now, with the passage of the chip bill, chip stocks may very well see a nice boost, so find them right here on TipRanks, and of course, don't wait to begin all your due diligence right here with us. Now, Cathie Wood over the years has been making her headlines for very bullish investments into a plethora of innovative technologies for what she saw as industry disruptors. Wood more recently has been heavily investing into some crypto investments, and as of just yesterday, she and the ARK team made headlines for offloading over 1.4 million shares worth of Coinbase, as the stock has been sliding more recently. Now, Coinbase began that initial descent following a report that the crypto exchange will be investigated by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The crypto exchange lost about 18% worth of share value just within the last handful of days alone, and we can see from our TipRanks tools that hedge funds have been selling out of the position. As for the ARK team, they sold out of Coinbase and very quickly began picking up more shares worth of Shopify. But what remains very clear is that Coinbase may very well be in for a volatile ride in the near term. Now, it is my favorite part of the segment. We have our breaking TipRanks insider news. This go round, Esa Pharma is back in focus with a 10% stakeholder purchasing more shares in the amount of $945,000. That all comes after a $1.7 million purchase just 3 days ago and an investment of $11.4 million from a different stakeholder a handful of days prior to that. Now, Esa Pharma is a pharmaceutical company that focuses on the development of therapies specifically for the treatment of prostate cancer. And as of right now, Esa Pharma is actually down on the week by roughly 3.6%, but continues to see bullish blogger sentiment and strong analyst forecasts, whereas top analysts foresee the stock climbing back up to $21.50 a share. Now, if Esa Pharma is a stock that intrigues you or excites you, be sure to upgrade your investment toolkit with TipRanks Premium and begin all your necessary due diligence right here with us. Tip Rankers, that's all our news for you today. Now, while I personally was not expecting such a rally after the Federal Reserve announced those interest rate hikes, I gotta ask, do you think this is the beginning of a bull market or just another short-lived investment trap? Also, I want to know your thoughts on whether or not you're jumping into chip investments. If you are, which ones? Leave all those comments down below and be sure to stay up to date and of course always connected by joining us right here on TipRanks TV, all the shows you just cannot afford to miss. Now, until next time, thank you for tuning in.